I'm going to give you, perspective on resilience and what the Army is looking to do, or what we got around the corner. I'm not sure if you can see this, but there's lots of stats here. The message I want to get across is the Army is a humongous enterprise. They have 156 installations, obviously around the world. A number of their installations are smaller than cities. Energy-wise, at our installations, this is a graph that is showing consumption and cost, consumption in green, cost in red, back to a fiscal year 2003 baseline. I do not have 17 info, FY 17 info yet. We're spending on the order of over $1 billion. So fellow taxpayers, over $1 billion on installations energy. So besides resilience, we're also interested in any help and assistance on being able to bring down that bill, or at least attempt to control it. If you go back to that 03 baseline, the consumption is down 25%. That's pretty good, but cost is up by 35%. And actually, unit costs have kind of moderated, as you can see on the graph, the last couple of years. But this is the area that we're pretty exposed in. To drive change at a large, in a large portfolio like I view the Army, one of the first things you have to have is a good, a policy, a strategy document. So this is our energy security and sustainability strategy. It's been in place since the spring of 2015. This is a document, a plan, a strategy released by, was signed by the Vice Chief of Staff of the Army, the number 2 uniformed person in the Army, and the Undersecretary of the Army, number 2 person in the Secretary. So I'll tell you, it's not an easy thing to get done. The link is on the upper right for any of you that are interested. So a while ago, basically, the Army started talking about resiliency. I try to use the term resilience now, and we defined it. Resiliency is the ability to prepare for, recover from energy disruptions and impact mission assurance. So obviously, the Army's not in business to manage energy and stuff like that. We're really a supporting function. We've got really important stuff these days, even more than the old days, being done from installations that require assured access to energy and water. So anyways, this is a really good strategy. This is kind of leading the way. Okay, here is the big, a recent big change. We were able to get the acting Secretary of the Army. So if you think getting the Secretary of the Army to release something, getting an acting is probably even harder. So we got a directive released in February of 2017, and this once and for all laid down the requirements with respect to energy and water security across the whole Army. So basically, what it says is to the extent that we've got facilities supporting critical operations, they have to have assured access to energy and water for a 14-day period. Okay, so that's a big deal, and it also then continues to say, oh, by the way, senior commanders and garrison commanders, you really got to care about sustaining, the rest of your missions. So please pay attention to your supply, to the condition of your infrastructure, and make sure that you can effectively operate things. So obviously where we're at, so this is, again, in a big enterprise like the United States Army, this is, again, a big, important step, because now I can't, I don't need to get into this debate out there as to, are we talking about 3 days, 5 days, et cetera, but now we need to make it happen. So we're working on essentially, how we're going to prioritize this and how we're going to resource it going forward. Okay, so there's a number of things going on that have a resilience play. So I'm going to start giving you a couple examples here. This utilities privatization that the Department of Defense has been on since the late 90s. The United States Army is the most aggressive implementer of utilities privatization. Basically what we're doing here is we're outsourcing the pipes and wires. We are transferring that property to an outside concern for a period of 15 years and letting them operate, maintain, improve that system. We're about half done, but we probably have about another 10 years to go. So we're seeing a great increase in reliability of our systems, and that's part of resilience. Third-party financing, energy savings, performance contracts, utility energy service contracts. This is a deal where, due to lack of upfront appropriated money from us fellow taxpayers, what we do is we go out and work deals with utilities, energy service companies, where they go out and actually borrow money, make the improvements, install the new equipment that produces a sliver of savings, and we pay them back. We now have a sort of a mortgage situation in place. If you're going to buy a $100,000 house, you can write a check. Or if you take out a mortgage, you're going to pay probably $175,000. But that's kind of what happens here. But again, we're getting we're getting new, more reliable equipment, and that helps with resilience. And we're in this in a big way. As the chart showed, we did over $200 million of this last year, fiscal year 17. Okay, we've got an office, the Office of Energy Initiatives, that's trying to bring projects to the Army with somebody else paying for them, and we don't pay them back. So that's essentially what we're trying to do here. And so what we did here is we gave Hawaiian Electric Company 10 or 11 acres of Army land. We paid a little bit for planning, National Environmental Policy Act sorts of stuff. And then Hawaiian Electric came in, designed their buildings to be completed next spring, and will operate and maintain a 50 megawatt biodiesel capable power plant. Now, why the heck are they doing this? Well, they need, during peak periods on the Oahu grid, they need some more power. And it's probably not that easy to find 10, 11 acres on that island to build such a plant. Well, we had some land available. So what they're going to get out of it is a black start capable plant. It's the only generation plant on that island above the tsunami strike zone. For those of you that haven't been to Hawaii, look at the power plants. They're fuel oil fired, and they're right on the coast. So it's a tsunami sort of situation that's probably going to be knocked out for a period of time. So now, what does the Army get out of this? Essentially, we have an agreement that if there's a contingency situation or if their grid goes down, now we've got a manual switching sort of, so we have a simple microgrid, not an advanced microgrid. We've got to manually, throw switches and make sure things are safe. But this plant can turn and turn into an island mode and completely power the Schofield Barracks, the Kinea site, and the Wheeler Airfield, and still have enough power left for a community hospital. So this is the sorts of projects, this is the best example of the sorts of projects that one office is doing. One other quick example here is down at Fort Hood. This is a combination of a pretty substantial 50 megawatt wind farm that's a couple hundred miles away from Fort Hood. Now that's not very resilient because we've got 200 miles of distance, but that's teamed with 15 megawatts on site. But the deal here is this is a play on buying our electricity a lot cheaper than we currently can. So we're buying about 50% of our electricity and we're starting off at less than the cost of the brown power. This is a 20-year agreement. So real quickly, a neat project out at Irwin. This is a leadership in energy and environmental design hospital. There are three. This is the fourth hospital in the entire United States that will be certified at platinum, the highest LEED certification. It's the only hospital at the Department of Defense. Lots of neat stuff. I guess the biggest thing is project cost was $211 million. It was completed under budget. You don't hear that very much. Okay, so I'm just going to set up the conversation here on my final two slides. This whole issue of microgrids, and the folks that are going to follow me are really going to get into this. So this is obviously something that we're very interested in. It appears to me that things, quite frankly, have not yet coalesced. We're still in a kind of a demonstration mode in many, many places. We're starting to get some microgrid activity, at our installations, but this is something we're very, very interested in moving forward on. And then in a related issue, here's actually a Office of Energy Initiatives project out of Los Alamitos. The RFP has not yet been issued, but this will involve maybe 16 megawatts of PV supply, we believe a microgrid, and some diesel gensets. This is, again, is going to be one of those third-party deals. So please catch me afterwards or keep an eye on this if you're interested. And the last thing I want to just bring up here, and again, maybe we'll get some more conversation either during or after, but Pew Charitable Studies, or Pew Charitable Trusts released a report actually right at the end of December that I've shown up here. And basically, the case that this study made, and I'd love to talk about it more, is that at every installation in the entire Department of Defense, the lower life cycle way of providing standby power is not a single genset per building. That still appears to be what the Army is doing. And so the sorts of things that happen there is when that genset goes down, you're out of Schlitz, right? So essentially what this study is saying is the lower life cycle cost is essentially a smaller number of larger gensets that are essentially wired together. You can call that a microgrid if you'd like. And the study goes further, as if depending upon which utility area that you happen to be in, is this study also modeled a half diesel, half natural gas kind of install. And in certain places like Southern California, you could actually make money if you did this because of the cost of generating some of your electricity from obviously natural gas versus ground power. So let's love to we'll see what the rest of the panelists have to say about this, and then during Q&A, love to talk about it more. And with that, I am out of time, and I will stop there. Thank you.